Hello.
Hello.
How are we? If you thought I wasn't gonna have a mic in this video, you thought wrong. So, new video idea today. Okay, besties, let's talk about dopamine. Nope, that's not the line. Let's talk about delayed gratification. Last week or like 2 weeks ago, I was scrambling through the internet as you do when you're obsessed at home in the winter. And I came across this article about delayed gratification that I was kind of obsessed with. Like I ate it up. And the reason I ate it up is because it attacked me like vigorously, like shot right through the chest and neck, in fact, double casualty. And I thought it was really interesting. So for those of you who don't know, delayed gratification is basically when you forego like a pleasurable experience or partake in a more difficult experience than usual in order to reap a better reward in the future. It's really hard to solidify that with just the sentence definition, but I made up, okay, Miss Merriam-Webster might have something else, but basically 2 examples that really helped me understand this, even though I think once you hear them, you're gonna be like, well, duh. Suppose you are a person who has a chocolate bar every single day and you decide to forego the pleasurable experience of having a chocolate bar every single day and you decide to only have them once every Friday. It's kind of like hard to give up the chocolate bar every single day, especially when you're used to it. But now the experience of having that chocolate bar on Fridays is like insane.
This is wild. This is where I don't even know, Jacob. This is wild. This is insane.
Right? It's like, wow, this is the best chocolate bar I've ever eaten. Delicious. As opposed to when, if you have it every day, you might maybe take it for granted. Another good example is, suppose you are a cyclist and you really like cycling down a particular mountain and it's like such an exhilarating experience. The wind is through your hair, you're feeling your oats, it's excellent. You might experience that differently if you had taken a car with your bike up to the top of the mountain and then just rode down, as opposed to biking up the mountain and enjoying the ride down. The point here is that if you rode the bicycle up, you would reap a more enjoyable experience. You would reap a more rewarding experience riding down, as opposed to having just taken the car up there. Now, I know nothing I said is non-obvious and nothing the article has said is like, wow, groundbreaking, but I'm sure you're probably, actually, maybe I won't speak for you, but I'm definitely reading this and been like, bitch, was I asleep in life? Like, why am I not applying this? Like, it's very clear, but yet I'm still not applying this. And it takes me back to a podcast I listened to a couple months ago, actually, which was very hard to get through. It's the Huberman podcast, Huberman Lab. I'm just going to put it over here. It's a really excellent podcast. It was just like, it took me a couple days to get through because it's really meaty, okay? Thick. It talks about dopamine and its involvement with delayed gratification. It's quite an interesting listen, so you should check it out too. But even after reading that, I was like, I don't really apply these, and I probably should because it sounds like just what I need. Especially because I'm like already pretty awful at this. I don't know what's happened to me over the past year and a half, but I feel like I've lost my grit. Like I'm no longer gritty. Like I feel like I used to opt in for such like weird, difficult experiences or like challenge myself. I don't even think challenging is like the right word. I think I'm just like, I've become a man child. And obviously like I'm gonna bring it up. Okay, nobody attack me, but yes, it's dopamine. Okay, dopamine is to blame here. It's kind of odd to describe because a couple weeks ago I released this video where I talked about how living life in upon the replay at home alone while trying to still live a very regular life is like a system designed to fail because there's so much friction attached to like really basic, I guess, human needs these days. But in this video, I'm also realizing in a very twisted way that, again, I've kind of lost that grit. And what I mean by that is that my ability to handle higher friction experiences has inversely gone down. So I think I'm also at fault here. I can't just entirely blame the system. I have a friend, Harpreet, you know yourself, and she's tried to explain this concept to me a couple times before, but she's done it so poorly. Basically, there's this concept of like having an internal locus of control and an external locus of control. Wow, I'm kind of sounding self-helpy. Guys, if this is sounding self-helpy, just click off right now. But essentially, an external locus of control is one where you would kind of maybe outsource or blame mishaps or like experiences. So let's say you're like struggling with a particular activity. If you have an external locus of control, you might blame an external event or something that's out of your control as to why you didn't get the job or why you couldn't get the workout done or why you didn't do X, Y, and Z. And I think we all fall victim to this sometimes. and it's less favorable, whereas an internal locus of control is one where accepting that something nice or something great that you really wanted didn't happen to you because there's still some work to be done internally, right? Like there's something in your power, in your control that you can handle, that you can do, that you can shift in order to attain whatever it is you're trying to attain. I think there's a fine line also between having like an internal locus of control and just being like your own worst critic, right? And just being hard on yourself. I haven't found that line, but I believe it exists. I think what I'm pondering about, if I do say so myself, pondering, is that I'm wondering if me just blaming like the high friction system that I'm being put through right now is me partaking in like an external locus of control mindset. Anyways, the reason I decided to make this video is because I read the article 2 weeks ago, but I couldn't find like a topic or like something to kind of exemplify delayed gratification with you folks. And then I had a moment and I realized I'm like, duh, it's Ramadan. Like fasting during Ramadan is a great example of delayed gratification. For those of you who don't know, Ramadan is a spiritual holy month for Muslims in which you would forego food and water from between sunrise and sunset, as well as partake in other religious activities. And the purpose behind the month is to practice self-discipline, self-reflection, and to really empathize with those who are less fortunate. By no way making a game out of Ramadan and fasting. This isn't the Ramadan challenge, hashtag Ramadan challenge, but I think we can all agree that Ramadan is a great example of practicing delayed gratification. So I already woke up today, and within like an hour of fasting, I was furious. I literally threw like a man-child tantrum and was like so upset, and I was like conniving, and I was almost negotiating with myself as to why I shouldn't be fasting and why I should just have my morning latte. And it took a couple hours, but eventually I got over it, and it was really difficult. And this moment of clarity hit me where I was like, I sound like a junkie. Literally shut up.
You are Elastigirl! My God, pull yourself together!
If you're worried about my plancha, I know she's a little sad and wilty, but she's not dying. She just needed some water, and I fed her the water. Okay, so stop yelling at me. Bye, thank you. Before you yell at me for having only 9% now on my laptop, I've come to share 3 things with you. My camera is at the repair shop. I forgot to do a sign off for this video, and I didn't really leave anything in the video that people can walk away with. I tried to sit down and brainstorm of a couple ways people can practice delayed gratification and a couple examples, but then I realized it's actually quite an individual experience, and I haven't quite figured it out 100% yet. I think it does require some individual reflecting and experimenting with how it fits into your life, and if you even want to try and experiment with it. I'm going to leave all the articles and podcasts I was listening to in the description below. If you liked the video, give it a like and a subscribe. I probably will do another video on this topic a couple of weeks or months down the line once I've had more time to figure it out and gather my thoughts, but I thought this ramble would be fun to share